Now I'm going to show you some opening traps in which you can lose your queen really early in the game. This opening, for example, is called Petrov's defense or the Russian game. Here white normally takes the e5 pawn, and if black takes the e pawn as well, this is already a mistake. The correct move here was d6 first, because if they take the e pawn, black are already in trouble after queen e2. Now the correct defense for black would be queen e7, sacrificing the knight because they can easily take it back after d6, attacking the knight which is pinned to the queen. But even though black are winning the knight back, that still leaves white with some advantage with moves like this one, but this was not the point of the lesson. The point of the lesson was that after this move, black need to be really careful not to run away with the knight like this, for example, because now they can lose the queen after knight c6, which is a discovered check and gives black no chance of saving their queen. They can either block off the check with the bishop, in which case the knight takes the queen on d8, or they can also protect the check with the queen. That's the other option, in which case again the knight takes the queen. This is another example how you can lose your queen if you're playing with black the Scandinavian defense. These moves so far are alright, but now if you decide to exchange your bishop for the knight on f3, this would be a bad idea. Castling would have been much better, because now white can take control of this diagonal, and here if you decide to take the d4 pawn hoping to exchange the queens, this would be an absolute blunder, because white can first take the knight that was protecting the queen with check first, and then they can take the queen for free. Now let's have a look at another variation of the Scandinavian defense in which you can lose your queen if you're not careful. That's why I don't recommend playing the Scandinavian defense if you're not familiar with it. Generally speaking, it's not a good idea to bring the queen out so early in the game like this, for example, because it becomes an easy target for your opponent, who can start developing his pieces while chasing your queen away. Anyway, it is possible for black to play like this, but you must be very careful about all the traps in these positions. Here white usually plays d4, taking control of the center. Black can develop their knight on f6, and white can develop their knight on f3. Then if black continues developing the other knight on c6 and white plays bishop d2, now you must be really careful with black, because if you decide to run away from the discovered attack by this bishop and move the queen to b6, this would be a big mistake. Now white can attack the queen with the knight on a4, and it turns out that the queen is trapped here because all the squares that the queen can move to are attacked by the white pieces. As you can see, no escape for the queen. And this is how black are losing their queen. Now I'm going to show you another short game in which the queen falls victim to a knight attack. So this is how the game started. White played d4, and after black's b5, which is not a very popular move, white continued playing e4, which not only helps take control of the center, but also opens up a discovered attack on the b5 pawn. Black defends this pawn with a6, and then white offers a pawn exchange on c4. Before taking this pawn, black do the fianchetto on the queen side, attacking the e4 pawn, and that's why white are defending it with f3. Now black exchanges the pawns on c4, and after playing e6, white decided to bring their queen to b3, threatening to capture the bishop on b7. Here black set a trap for white by playing knight c6 and leaving the bishop not protected, because if white take the bishop on b7, then knight a5 traps the white queen. As you can see, all the possible escape squares for the white queen are attacked by the black pieces. There is no safe square, and white are losing their queen.